Hello, 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 my friends. I'm gonna wait for the music to catch up as that exits out of that screen. So, my internet's either a little slow or things are catching up. So, hang on one second. I'm gonna mute one thing over here. That probably will help. There we go. Thank you for everyone showing up today. I'm going to talk for just a little bit. I'm not sure if this is actually working, if people got the link, did not get the link. I only see a few people in, and I'm not sure if those are ones that I sent the link to directly. So, but welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here. I'm Shawn with Manly Made Minute. You probably watched my Card Making Stash Summit class with the masterboard, and I tell you, that was probably one of the funnest things I think I've done. I appreciate you all logging in, paying the VIP membership, and the feedback was amazing. I have not had that much fun putting a class together before, and I got so much back. And so I'm going to keep chatting. We're going to just keep moving forward. I'm not sure if people are logging in or not. I'm only seeing 2 people in, but we'll keep going. So anyway, I have a couple recaps for you from the class. Then I'm going to give you kind of some insight of what prompted what we're going to do today. So I just, when I was setting this up, I kind of went back to the comments shared on the Card Making Stash Summit Facebook page and the posts that were coming through with the cards and things. You guys did such an amazing job with all the classes. Seriously, the cards being posted were mind-blowing. I was absolutely mind-blown. And I watched pretty much every class. I was mind-blown. So I think you all need to give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys did such a great job. My class was intentionally put together and I'm going to just go over to the chat so I can just kind of watch the chat here. Good morning, Heather. Welcome. I'm glad you found it. I was starting to wonder if people were going to get onto the link. So give yourselves a pat on the back. You guys did such an amazing job. And my class was set up on purpose to literally throw you into something that I was hoping was going to make you uncomfortable. And there's a reason behind that. We all get used to, I'm just going to grab something. We all get used to our supplies. We grab our favorite supply, we use our favorite supply, and we start using the same stuff and over, and then we get into something like the Card Making Stash Summit, where the purpose of that was to make us dig into our stash. Some of that stash we don't use very much, and the purpose of my class was to throw you in, make you not think. We think way too hard with our craft supplies. We think way too hard with what do I need to make to impress and make something really good. And my class, I wanted you just to have fun. I didn't want to hardly get any cutting out. I wanted you to rip paper. I wanted you to have fun, not think about it, de-stress maybe if you're ripping paper and trying to de-stress, and throw it down, because that's the process. The process after that is, what do I do with this? And then that's where I took you to the next level of some of the die cutting, 2 cards out of 1, all that kind of stuff, right? And we're going to talk about my process here in a second of paper scraps. Today, we're going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to reverse it back, and we're going to make a little bit of a process out of this today, because I want you to think of what you do as art pieces, and in those art pieces, I want to reflect on what I saw with the Card Making Stash Summit. What I saw at that Card Making Stash Summit throughout watching the comments and watching that Facebook page just go crazy with people posting their cards and getting all excited was the community. And that really got me thinking, and I've been talking about this a little bit lately on some of my lives and stuff, but it just really got me thinking about this craft making community and how many talented people we are, why we do what we do. Everybody has their reason of why they make cards and why they do what they do and how their process is and their style. Maybe their style is completely different from somebody, and there's maybe a reason for that. And that got me thinking about today's project. And we're going to do another master board. And I'm seeing a lot of ATCs pop up. I've done ATCs one time since card making. Good morning, Judy. I'm going to try to watch the chat a little bit. I'm going solo today, so I don't have somebody to monitor, so I'll try to catch the chat. If you have a question, put in big caps question for me so I can catch it. I'd be happy to answer any questions as we go through it. It might be about a 2-hour live. If you hang in there, great. If not, if you want to pop in and out, fantastic. So this really got me thinking about the community and how sometimes we don't support each other enough, right? And so I wanted to do ATCs for a couple reasons. One, ATCs are for us to give to other crafters or people that appreciate it or know what it is, and we need to be proud to pass that off. Two, I wanted to take the process of a master board and make it less messy and maybe a little more constructive. So we're going to do some ephemera. We're going to do some collaging. I'm not huge on collaging. I don't do a ton of collaging. I've done some research, and this is, again, it fit in with the master board because there's no rules. There's no hold bar. And I got to show you behind me. This is what I prepared for today's class. I've gotten out every ephemera, every vintage thing, my mixed media stuff, all kinds of stuff I haven't used for a long time. So we're going to get that out and have fun with it and just go through that process. Keep in mind as we go through this what your intention is going to be. And I challenge you all to take these ATCs and give them away. I challenge you to connect with somebody in your community, in your crafting community, whether it be an online person, whether it be locally. I'm fortunate enough that I've got a really decent handful of local community crafters that I connect with in person, as well as online, as well as group texts. So I'm really fortunate. If you don't, reach out to somebody and say, hey, I made some ATCs. Would you like one of my ATCs? I would like to send you some happy mail. Connect. I can tell you it's going to make you feel so good. Be proud of what you're going to make today. Get out your ephemera. Get out a 12 by 12. Get out your scraps. Get out your paper scraps to start. Okay? As we go through, I'm going to go through what's behind me to give you a little time to prepare if you want to craft along. I'm going to take your lead on today's class, and that is pushing my limits. I saw so many comments. I'm sorry, I'm reading some notes I wanted to make sure I covered for you today. I saw so many notes and comments after the class, during the class, in the Facebook group about how my class and others pushed them other limits. They never thought they could do this. They put a master board together going, what the heck, is this even going to look good? And then they cut it up and went, oh my gosh. I'm going to take your lead, and I'm pushing my limits today with the ephemera and the collaging. I don't do a ton of it, and I thought it would be perfect to go through this with ATCs. Then I put in the description a link for you for mustache.io. Mustache is newer, if you aren't familiar. It's a new website put on by the fabulous Tracy Renner and her a few other people. Apologize, I can't remember their names. Click on that link, go to that website. There's community there. And that's their purpose of that website, is to build community. They do craft along sessions on Saturdays. You can log in live, chit chat with people. Sometimes you're learning, sometimes you're just crafting and having fun. I have so much fun when I log in and craft along with them. It's amazing. So I encourage you to go check it out. There's a free and then there's a paid membership. I do not get any affiliation. I don't get any commission off of it whatsoever. It is just about the community. And then it's a place to store your stuff. Log in all your stuff so you know what you have. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome website. You can post projects, all kinds of stuff. So, ATCs. ATCs are 2.5 by 3.5 inch card. A lot of people make them out of old recycled playing cards, just a deck of cards, because that's the size they are. These are about sharing your art, sharing your passion, and using products that maybe you love all the time. Maybe products you like, I bought this stuff and I never used it and I want to create little pieces of art. The difference we're going to do today is we created a one big piece, we cut it up, and then we made cards out of it. We're going to collage, or do our masterboard, I apologize. Then we're going to cut this up into 12 ATCs, and each individual is going to be a piece of art. I'm probably not going to get through all 12, but we're going to get through a few of them for sure today, so you get that process of what a collage is, what an ATC is, and then what it means that it's your little piece of art. Before I go through my four foundations of my scrapping, I want to just show you really quick, because I'm not going to go through making all of them. I bought, apologize, I bought online, on the big retailer online. I could not find a company that makes these except for on Amazon. And these are ATC stamps. They're for the back side of your ATC. So this is for you to title your little piece of art, put your name on there, your contact information if you want, the date if you want. You can see on some of them the number. Maybe you're making 10 of exactly the same and they're never going to be made again. You can say this is 1 of 10, this is 2 of 10, so people know only 10 other people have this little piece of art. I think it's kind of cool. I have this folder of all my craft paper. I've had this ton of scraps for a long time in here because they're just weird sizes that I can't use for card bases and things. I'm going to cut these up and use these for the back side. And I'm not going to attach these till after I cut it. So I'm not going to fill this whole back side with craft paper for ease of cut. I've created them. I've done them 3 different ways. I've stamped one. This one, I just stamped it in archival black. I have embossed it, one in gold and one in black, just to try it. I'm going to glue these on the back of my cards after. You don't need to see me make all 12 of these. It's just stamping scraps of paper. I cut these at 2.5 by 3.5 inches. Okay? All right, let me just show you really quick my thought process on scraps. I had a lot of people ask me, how do I come up with, what do I come up with? And I know there's other people out there that have these different acronyms, and so I thought I'm just gonna make one really simple, and I had to really think of what my process is because I'm sure I had one. I wasn't sure what it was. It just was working, and so I'm just gonna call it ROKS. ROKS. First R, reduce. The purpose of what I do, because I'm a scrap hoarder, and I promise you after this we're gonna get crafting. I'm a scrap hoarder. I save everything. Couple reasons. 1, I love to recycle. 2, I hate throwing stuff away. And 3, this stuff is expensive. And so I want to use every little bit I can without throwing stuff. Obviously, and I kept a few things over here. I'm going to throw stuff away like this most of the time, unless I thought, oh, I'm going to make a masterboard out of this. But this stuff is expensive. So I save everything. But the purpose of my projects with scraps is to reduce my scrap bucket. I look at it, what do I have in there, how can I reduce it, and then I look at projects that maybe I can reduce a lot by making things in bulk. So sometimes I'll come up with a design that I can make in bulk, and hi everyone, welcome, I see a couple popping in, that I can make in bulk and reduce that bulk. Some people say I'm only going to keep scraps if they're only a certain size and throw the rest away. Fantastic. That works for you. I like everything, to save everything. And so I just look at how I can reduce that bulk of what I have. Oh, other supplies. What other supplies for this project can I bring in? And that's why it just fits so well for me for the Card Making Stash Summit, because I do have stuff just like everybody else. Some of it's right over in this little tier of stuff I hardly use. So what other supplies can I bring in with these scraps to use and reduce and use up stash and use up stuff that I bought for a reason because I liked it. Now I just need to use it. So I look at other supplies that I can bring in. A lot of times it's consumables. What consumables can I use? What stencils can I use? What things can I mix with these scraps to create something? You saw this in the Card Making Stash Summit. I brought in die cuts. I brought in other little elements that I had sitting around, like some leaves, die cut leaves, different things, different portions of those cards that I brought in to create other supplies. Okay, what kind of project do I want to make? Do I want to make tags? Do I want to make A2 size cards? Do I want to make A9, A7 cards? Or do I just want to make a collage? Do I want to make and let me grab it really quick. It's right behind me. This is super casual. I'm not trying to like just do a little cutesy presentation today. This is just us hanging out. I bought some of these hard canvas boards. Do I want to collage this? Put gesso on here and play with gesso and figure out what gesso does, and then start collaging and putting scraps on here and building it. It's not a card. If I'm going to send this, it's going to get bulky, right? I'm probably going to have to frame it and put it in a box to give to somebody. So I'm not looking at trying to fit this in an envelope. This is just a piece of art that I'm just playing with my scraps and my supplies and having fun. Do I want to put distress paint? Do I want to put distress sprays on this? What can I make out of this? What kind of project? All right. And then S, scraps. There is such a thing as what kind of scraps do I want to use? I'm going to grab it. For the class, I used all kinds of scraps. I used scraps like these, right? You all saw me. We used up scraps that we had die cut. Here's another one, right? Or do I want to use the typical, let me grab some in here, strips. We all have these leftover strips. Do I want to grab stuff that I started and I screwed up on? What kind of scraps do I want to use for this project today, right? Or do I want to get out I call this my background bucket, which has all these backgrounds I made that I didn't use for some reason at the time. This one, I didn't like the coloring and it got kind of smeary. I kept it because I can cut this up at some point and use for something. I'm going to be, this is being open with you all. These are my scraps and trial of the masterboard from the class. You'll recognize that layout, I'm sure. I cut these to the wrong size. So I kept them because guess what? I'm still going to make cards out of these. But I screwed up and cut them at the wrong size, and then they weren't fitting to what I was trying to do. So do I want to use background scraps? Rocks. Reduce, other supplies, kind of project, and then what kind of scraps do I want to use? And that's going to help guide you into how to reduce, how to reuse, how to dig into this stash sitting behind me that you don't use very much. Okay, I am super excited to do this masterboard with you today. And we're going to do some ATCs. Here's my goal. I have ephemera that I've had forever. So I'm staying in this stash theme. I have ephemera that I've used. I've bought some more, and I bought some vintage paper because I didn't have a lot of vintage paper, and I got some scraps of mine that'll go with this vintage theme. I want to practice for me because you all are pushing me outside my box. My wonderful friend Walter I go live with on Thursdays for Monroe is just amazing at vintage, and I want to get better at vintage. And I want to get better at collaging and a little mixed media and making little pieces of art that are reflective of me. So that's my pushing me outside the box today with you all and ripping and throwing this masterboard into more neat. I'm flipping it for you all that maybe we're like, I can't stand ripping paper. I want this to be more neat. We're going more neat. All right. So I'm going to head down to the down camera. And we're going to get started, and then I'm going to show you some of this stuff behind me of what I have so you can see it really nice, right? I don't know why that does that. If I give a thumbs up, my camera does that, and it's never done that before. I'm going to have to get rid of my thumbs up. Sorry about that. All right, let me go down to the down camera. We're going to get some of this off screen and get started. All right, here's my 12 by 12, you all. I've had this little paper pack of Halloween paper that I've hardly ever used. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to use one of these 12 by 12s because I just have never used this Halloween paper, and I've had it for literally a couple of years. All right, let me show you what I purchased and what I have for scraps. I'm going to show you first the scraps that I got that fit in. I went through every single paper pad scraps of mine and got stuff that goes with my theme from different paper pads. Okay, this stuff was from a Pooh paper pad, like Winnie the Pooh, not Pooh. Alice in Wonderland. Stuff that I felt kind of had a little vintage vibe to it. Here's the Winnie the Pooh stuff. Vintagey, lacy kind of stuff. So these are stuff in my scraps that, now I know this doesn't look like a lot from our first class, but this is what fits in my theme. Okay? I also threw in here, being on the Bruce Monroe design team, these creative cards that we get every now and then as a design team that I always struggle what to use these for. Besides just putting them in the normal, here, plop it, mat it, what do I do? So I've tried to do some mixed media stuff. We're going to use some of these today on this vintagey collage. And I'm just going to show you a couple of these that I have. All right. So that one I felt fit. I felt this one fits. These little nymphs, I think, are beautiful. And I think those fit really nice. And then this one, very old world, vintage, fall. The color scheme, to me, fits perfectly. A little retro-ish feel to it, right? So I'm going to throw these on top. Again, I'm not going to probably rip a whole lot of paper today. Then I had this scrap of stamps and things that I've saved off of envelopes, little window of envelopes. I've got some, you can see some die-cut leaves and stuff in here that I thought would fit. I've sorted this stuff out that fits in my theme. This is the reduce part, right? Reducing what I have. And then I some mixed media stuff here that I've had. I thought these would be cool to throw over the top. Just showing you what I have gone through my bucket to reduce that fits in with this, kind of project that we're going to do. Okay, next bucket. I got, these are new now, and we're going to use this pack. I bought this pack of scrapbooking paper off of Amazon. They're very thin, very, very thin. But, I mean, come on. Look at these papers. Amazing. I knew I was going to go with this vintage theme today. I didn't know if it was going to be cards or what until I really got thinking about the ATC cards. Then I got out, this one is brand new. Another very thin, almost wax paper-like that we're going to use. And then some main ephemera with some butterflies and different things in there. This one had some butterflies and stamps and past travel things and different things from Tim Holtz. That we're going to use. And then I'll show you the rest that I may dig in. Is these. So I had bought this one. This one is left over from another pack. Some little wood things, some frames and some tags, some stickers, a couple packs of these that I bought. I'm going to have to make some ATCs because I got a lot of stuff. Then I bought this vintage Book Lovers ephemera book. You have to cut these out, but isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, here's my mixed media stuff that I've been saving. Some packing material, some cardboard, some gears, some organza, some bubble wrap, some leftover string, some washi that I need to use, some cheesecloth, some burlap, all kinds of stuff in here that I have in my stash. Then I've got a slew of pastes and these things I'm probably going to use. Nuvo drops. We all have them. We probably don't use them enough. We're going to use these today. And then stencils and things. So here's what we're going to do. Let's just get started. And what I want to start with, because I want to use up these first before I use my new stuff. And we're going to do this just slightly different as far as product and how we apply these. Because I don't want these to get crazy thick, because I'm going to build these up once I get the mixed media stuff on there. So I'm going to keep these and cut these neat. I don't want all these rough edges this time. So guess what? This time I'm throwing this stuff away, because now I'm just reducing this down, right? So I'm just cutting these up into different shapes and sizes to clean these up, because some of these are, a lot of these are the same. Obviously probably making A2 size cards out of a 6x6 and cutting it up, right? Again, look at me. No rhyme or reason. I'm not measuring. Oh, those are good. Like, those are good. Those are good. That one's good. Some of these are pretty good size already. Perfect. No rhyme or reason. I'm just cutting. I'm not measuring. I'm just trying to do different sizes. Okay? And I'm going to probably, because I know I've got plenty of stuff to throw on here, so I may not use all of this. Because I want to make sure I'm mixing some of my new stuff in here as well. And I might do, and I'm going to probably do some of those cards, just full-on cards. And then do the ephemera and things after. The difference here is I'm just going to get a basic board down this time. I want each individual, because last time I mixed every kind of paper, everything I had, and that's not so much this time. A little bit more themed, a little bit, you can see the color scheme already happening by cutting these up, right? Alright, I'm going to go down to this poo stuff, because I've had this poo stuff for a long time and want to use it up. And I feel like some of these I've about used up what I could use up. So here's the deal. Get out your ephemera, get out your scraps, try to find a theme now in those scraps. If you're going to craft along, what kind of project do you want to make? I'm making ATCs. If you want to make ATCs, then just keep that in mind as you're picking out your stuff of what that's going to look like. And I didn't prep on purpose because I really wanted you all to see this process without prepping it. Okay, so then as you're picking out your stuff, your scraps, now think about, you can see me throwing this stuff away. It's not heartbreaking me at all, because I feel like I've gotten I have gotten about what I can get out of many of these scraps already, making these a couple times now for these master boards. Now think about other supplies. What other supplies do I want to use? What haven't I used for a while that I can mix with this theme of scraps that I'm sorting out in my bucket? So as you're doing this in your craft room, keep in mind rocks. What rocks do you have in that craft room that you want to use? Okay, and then kind of project, and then the scraps. What scraps? Just this stuff? Background scraps? Strips? Let that guide you. I know that sounds probably stupid. Let the rocks guide you into what it is you're going to make. And that's basically what I did for today. All right, now it says going to do something slightly different as far as product. I'm going to glue these pieces down because these are thick cardstock, very thick cardstock. But my thinner stuff I'm going to brush on with just a little cheap sponge brush. I'm not tearing this time. I am keeping this a little bit more neat. I'm going to go every which direction except angled sideways. I'm going to keep this a little bit more on the square side. I do not have a brayer, but I just found this lady as I was kind of going through ATCs and trying to figure out that process, who uses a brayer and a glue stick. And we're going to use a glue stick on that thinner stuff versus this. That's the part of the process I was going to say, is I want a thinner application because on that thin stuff, if I do this, it shows you the squiggles and stuff where you glued. Ooh, that's a good color on that one. But she uses a brayer and then smooths it out. And that is probably something I'm going to take away from this, is getting a brayer so I get nice even coverage and push down and get all my bubbles out as she glues things down. It was securing things really nicely. Okay, we're just going to kind of start over here. I just want these spread out. And if I don't need to puzzle this together as I layer, I'm just getting a decent layer of these scraps before I start layering over. And the reason why I got that paper is I didn't want it super thick. Because last time with the guillotine, you really had to cut through it. I'm sure some of you were like, holy man, by the time I layered all that up after that class, I was like, you almost had to take a chainsaw after, especially after it dried and that glue hardened. I don't want that on these because I know I'm going to be doing a lot of buildup. Now I'm just going to connect these. I'm just trying to get some connection going through all of this stuff. And you'll really see this one come together when we start putting on that vintage stuff. Feel free to comment. Did you like the class? Did you get anything out of it? Did it push you out of your box? And were you surprised? I mean, were you like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that I could even make something like that. And that's another reason of doing this today is I'm doing a little mixed media in here. People get scared of mixed media. There's no rules. That's the thing I like about it. There's no rules. And if there is, I'm not following them. So it is just let your creativity go. I just switched this one up because I wanted people to... Good morning, Sandy. Welcome, my friend. We are collaging some vintage ATC cards today. We're going with a different process than we did for the class. And keeping this a little bit more organized. But then adding some mixed media collage-y kind of stuff when we get to that point. I am really digging how this is coming together and this theme part. I had so much fun doing the other one too, don't get me wrong, but this theme and this color combo kind of thing, I can tell it already. I'm going to dig. Oh, back to mixed media. So I know people get just really nervous with the mixed media stuff, but there's just no rules. I mean, we buy product because we want to try it and it looks fun and textured, and then I buy stuff because I'm like, I want to make stuff like them, right? Like when I see people make stuff, and then I get it and I'm like, I'm not confident that I can do it. Mine doesn't look like theirs does. It's taken me a while to get over that feeling, because just get used to doing what you want to do. Make your little piece of art. That was kind of what we've been preaching here this morning so far, right? Just make your little piece of art and be proud of it. And honestly, I feel like these boards are just good practice to doing these techniques that we all want to do and get good at. Don't you think? Like, we try to make a card and then we get frustrated, and then it's like, I think sometimes we put that product aside because I'm like, I don't like it. I can't get it. I can't figure it out. Well, you're not using it enough then. You're not practicing enough. Stuff like this to me is perfect practice. I get to make 12 little pieces of art and practice. Nobody's going to know I was just practicing. They're just going to appreciate that you actually gave them this cool little piece of art. And don't apologize. I'm so sorry. It's not as cute as I wanted it to turn out. It is as cute as you wanted it to turn out. It's probably better than you thought it was going to turn out, or that you think. So be proud of these little pieces of art. Use these as opportunities to practice your art form. Because I can tell you, the more you do this without intention, the better you're going to get. Oh, good, Judy. I'm so glad. I was just really hoping people would just get over the fact of there's not a real formal process, and it's a little messy. You know, there was no true directions on how to do this. I am knocking down and reducing this pile here pretty good. If you want to keep this more smooth, I watched that same lady with the brayer. A lot of her stuff she keeps pieced together side by side and does not overlap as much. I'm so sorry, my brain doesn't function that way. At some point, I got to start overlapping. Because if I have to start cutting and to make it all fit, it loses me, and so I don't craft that way. Some people feel like, oh my gosh, but I did all that, now I'm covering it up. Guess what? Mixed media, there's a lot of work that goes into mixed media, and then I feel like you always end up covering half of it up by the time you collage it and put everything on it anyway. So I just feel like that's the process. Ooh, look at that one fit perfect. Yeah, Sandy, so this time the purpose of this is going through, I came up with rocks. Reduce your pile, reduce your scraps, reduce your supplies. O is other supplies, that what else can I use? K for in the rocks is what kind of project am I going to make? And then what scraps? And so this one is more themed. I went through and pulled all my scraps that go with the theme of what I want to do today, which is vintage and ephemera and collaging and ATCs. So that's kind of my rocks for today. I am hoping people are finding the video. There's only a couple logged in, and this is my first time doing a private live session from a class, and so I sure hope I set it up right and people got their links, and I did not control that portion of it, so I'm hoping people got what they needed to log in today. I tried testing everything last night to see that it was working. I'm going to stop there because I'm going to fill the rest of this in and overlap some stuff. So I'm going to stop there. I still have plenty of this left, right? Well, let's just throw these colorful ones in there. We're done with that bucket. I'm going to try to stay organized today. All right. Just throw these colorful ones in here. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go to that bucket that had the new supplies of the scrapbook paper. I'm not going to use my book, so we're going to put that one aside. I'm getting out this bucket that had this big pad of paper. If you are the one that you need to go through and go, I want this one, I don't want this, I don't want this, and get something similar, that's what today's about. Being a little more picky and not just grabbing scraps, cutting them up, and throwing them down. I'm not going to do that. I am going to still go with just randomness. I'm just, what I'm looking at is color and scripty stuff. And trying to get some different colors in there. Ooh, I like this like ticket kind of thing. Ooh, big old scripty, another ticket. I'm going to start with those because that might cover what I need. But what I want to mix in here is a little bit more organic plant stuff, which is why I pulled this one. And I'm just pulling random with colors and making sure I got leaf. I'm looking for leafy kind of stuff. Ooh, this one has a couple of each in the pack, which is cool. Okay, that's probably good. And you're going to notice, I'm doing this in layers. My next layer will be some ephemera, just some, because I'm going to collage them, and then those Bruce Monroe cards, which I threw back here, I believe. Where did I put those? I'm going to put those Bruce Monroe cards. Oh, here they are. So I'll put those there, because those are coming next. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing. I just need to cut this up into some pieces. Again, if you want to rip these, if you loved that ripping class and you're like, I want to do another rip it. I think these would look beautiful. Absolutely beautiful ripped. Not today for me. Today's about those people that like a little bit more clean cut because I saw some of those comments. And I wanted to kind of bring something to the table for you all. If you are like, since this is a new piece of paper, I'm just cutting. But if you're like, I want this, so if you're like, I want that butterfly, and I'm going to keep that butterfly together, then keep that butterfly together, because guess what? I can keep that piece, and I can keep that piece, but now I've got my butterfly contained. And will I use all of these? Probably not. I just threw that whole piece away because I'm like, I got enough of that color and things. I'm doing the same. I'm cutting that because I want that leaf. And then I want this whole leaf. I'm going to cut some of these stamps down of what I want. Okay. My keep pile over here. My scrap pile's going over there. I told you all, I am a scrap hoarder. Oh, Sandy, these would be great on design team stuff. Using up our pattern paper scraps, throwing stamps over it, which we will do here. My goal is to at least knock out 2 ATCs for you today before we wrap up. I'm going to use that whole big piece. Why not? Don't be afraid of size either, honestly. Ooh, I love that flower. We're going to throw that one somewhere. These, I love these. These are so thin, vintagey thin. How fun would this be I know I said I was going to keep things like a little bit more straight, but look. How fun just to take and cut it out. Like so. What I'm trying to show you here is just technique. I don't know about you, but those of you that took my class, did you get a sense of accomplishment after doing your 12 cards? And did you get, and I'm saying this because of how I'm feeling today. I have to go work after this and fly for 2 days, but this just keeps my mind off of things, and I just get, I mean, come on. I just get in another dimension when I start doing this stuff and not thinking about it. And I was just talking to a friend of mine about some design team stuff. And I feel like we get so consumed with design team stuff that the process isn't fun anymore. I'm going to keep that because I want that and I want that. And we're going to stop there. We get lost in having to do something because we have to do something. All right. Because this paper's so thin, if I do squiggles and put it down, you can see squiggles. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just use a simple glue stick. I could use this brush. I decided not to. And just brush on the glue. But guess what? I have glue sticks in my stash that I don't use a ton. And so we're going to use it a ton today. Yeah, Judy, wasn't there some great cards? Like I said at the beginning, I just was blown away what everybody made from all the classes, not just mine. And it just solidified the process of this for me and how effective it is and how good it is. Now I know why a brayer would be so fantastic to smooth these things down. So I'm kind of giggling a little bit inside because as I'm doing this, I'm realizing I'm putting together a nice color palette in a very vintage color palette. And my friend Walter would be so impressed. Am I covering up a lot of stuff? Yes, but that's the process. You can't lay this stuff out effectively and show everything. So don't be afraid to cover this stuff up. Okay, here's the other thing I learned kind of researching ATCs and making it out of masterboard stuff. Is if you want, when you're going to cut this up, for example, you cut this on purpose. I cut that on purpose, with purpose of using that whole thing, right? Your ATCs are 2.5 by 3.5 high. So make sure you place it within that 2.5 or overlap a little bit. So I'm going to go overlap because I know my 2.5 where I'm going to get a little bit of wings on one side and a little bit of wings on the other. 3.5 and 3.5, so I might get that in a full one. So if you need to be strategic and be a thinker about it, that's okay. My stamps. So I'm going to throw the stamps over this because I got a gap here. I feel like that's just a little much for that big piece, so I'm going to overlap just a little bit there. So am I being a little more strategic today? Yes. Was I on the last class? No. The last class, I wanted you all just to rip paper, have fun, get rid of your stash, because that was the purpose of the summit, and not worry about it. Now, do you want to go sideways a little bit? You can. I'm keeping things a little more symmetrical. I can tell you if I wasn't doing this just for those symmetrical people, I probably would start kitty wampusing some stuff, to be honest. I'm going to throw this one. Actually, I'm going to use that. Over the gap. So I don't want that to be the whole card when I cut this. So I think I've got about 2.5 and 2.5. I'm going to go right through here. Yeah, so if you've got to plan this out just a little bit, plan it out. Who cares? Do what you want to do on these. All right, a couple more gaps to fill because I'm going to keep this kind of thin because I still have layers to go over the top. And keeping this thin will keep it drying a little bit nicer for you. Those of you that did my class, you probably realized after you did all that gluing, you probably had to let your collage dry for a good 24 hours. I did anyway. I got a little heavy on the glue, and then I had to make sure it dried. I'm just trying to find a gap. I'm going to do a little strip of this plant to connect those, and then I got one more piece to throw in there. And then I'm going to throw a couple things on before I cut this up and start collaging. Oh, I got a couple gaps, I guess. Perfect little strip right here to go between this and cover up that. And we're just going to make a chunk for there. And we're going to make, I'm going to grab a piece. I want this rose. All right. Just throw this right in here. And then this one was just going to go over that one last gap of Halloween paper showing through. Okay, next layer. Okay, I love these cards, but if I look at this, I feel it's too fall, and I'm not, it's a little off to me. So I'm going to save those for another day. I'm not sure if my nymphs fit in this. So that one's okay. That one's okay. That one's beautiful. Good on there. I'm just using up a couple. And then I'm going to grab, I think these are the city ones or something, Uptown Girls. And we'll go throw a couple of these in there. Ooh, perfect, perfect. And now that I'm looking at these, I actually gonna keep these off because I have an idea. Here's the deal. I told you at the beginning, I get these cards and I struggle. Oh, that throws some color in there. I struggle with what to do with these. I is starting this. No, I was just gonna glue a couple of these down and move on. And now I came up with an idea. So I'm gonna hold on to these once I get this cut. I'm not gonna throw down ephemera. I'm not gonna throw down anything else. I'm gonna cut this up. I'm gonna save this piece too. Okay? So I'm gonna save over to the side. I'm gonna get rid of these scraps. Oh, that one. Look at that one that fell out. it's like a tarot card on that one. That one's speaking to me. That was meant to fall off out of the pack. If you know anything about tarot cards, if a card falls out, it was meant for you. You better read it. If you're into that. All right, let me trim this down. I am so excited for these. I can't even tell you. Again, I'm pushing myself per the comments I saw, everybody, of how much this pushed them and stuff. So for me, vintage, collaging, a little mixed media stuff doesn't scare me, but I don't do it enough. Like I tried to start it, and then I fell off the wayside doing design team stuff more. And so I'm pushing myself in front of you, but still using this concept of rocks and masterboard. Not worth saving. Throwing it away. It's probably 2 cents worth, so I'm okay with that. All right, you guys. Is that not pretty? You guys, I'm so happy with this. This color theme. This more blocky kind of thing. I'm so happy with this. You have no idea. Sandy, no, but that is a great idea. You absolutely could do that. I don't even own any of that, so you absolutely could do that. And I'm actually going to get out my guillotine. Let me grab my guillotine. It's still a little wet, so I don't want to rip it. All right, got to stand up. Apologize if it's going to be a little ripping loud. 2.5 wide. I'm keeping my orientation on my butterfly because that's how I laid this out. 2.5 wide by 3.5 high. Okay, the size, it's gonna look small. They are 2.5. I'm making sure I'm on the half. It's 2.5. Look at that. That was perfect. Oh, I got to glue that little piece down. I got half that wing in like I thought I was going to. 2.5. You're going to get 12 out of this. I could have done the math and mapped out the 2 strips that you're going to need to cut to save, and I did not. Because you're going to have some left, like this strip is not 2.5. Guess what? I just taught a class on things you could do with this stuff, didn't I? So save that. Okay? Now I'm going to I kept these in the same orientation. I'm going to turn them, and I'm going to go 3.5. 3.5. And I'm going to grab these as they're, oh, that's okay. I can throw that. There's still stuff down there. You don't get things glued down all the way. This is where you're going to find it. Three and a half. I cannot wait to give these out. I've never done this before with ATC. Guess what? Keeping that scrap for that strip. Okay. I'm going to get 12. And I'm going to cut all 12. We're not probably going to get to making all 12 today. I'm going to pick some that I want to just collage for you. Three and a half. And 3.5. And 3.5. And 3.5. Oop. See, I didn't get that whole side of that butterfly on. And is this one 3.5? Yep. And 3.5. Now I'm gonna look. I want a lot of that rose in there, so let's. But I like that green, so let's keep it this way. After you cut these, then you're like, how did I miss not gluing that whole chunk? There we go. 2 chunks left on that. All right, one more strip at 3.5. Three and a half. And last one. And then we'll kind of show you again the element of surprise a little bit when you do these masterboards, right? I think, this is what I heard a lot of comments of. I thought, what the heck with masterboard till I cut it up and loved what I made. So look at these. Ended up with a whole flower on that one, which is great. Okay, so I think these are fantastic. So I like that one. I like that one. I'm gonna use this one because you might be thinking, what the heck? I like a butterfly one. Let's see. I'm gonna keep that one. Actually, I'm gonna use this butterfly one. Okay. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3 to start because we're an hour in already. Okay. Now, going back to these. How cool, this one for sure, would it be to cut her out and give me some dimension? ATC cards. You might think, what are the rules? There are no rules. It's about collaging. Do you have to use this stuff? No. Guess what? If you're a recycler, you could use magazine pages. You could use book pages, kids' book pages. You name it. This is endless. Again. You could do this same concept with a card. Like literally with a card. I think I'm going to keep, because I'm going to trim that down, I'm going to keep that. I like her. I already know. She's probably going to go there. I'm going to do 2 with these. So I'm going to go back because this is a little thicker cardstock. Oop. Right. Like so. Oh, it would totally make great bookmarks and tags for sure. And you could do the same thing. All right. We're going to go this one. And fussy cut her out. And now that I'm looking at these would be just the great bases to start with for an ATC even. Because I think these measure, how much are these? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 by 3. So you could trim these to that 2.5 by 3.5, and you've got a great base for an ATC. And you could just build off of these versus the masterboard like what I just did. Right? I know I'm going to probably cut most of her down to fit on this card. It's funny how prepping, and I showed you all the supplies I got behind me, and where you end up going. The joy of the process to me. You have an idea, and like these sparked something on the way, and I'm changing gears, and I love that. I just love that. And I think that's, the process for me with scraps is it totally changes the process of what to do with a specific stamp set and different things. The process is so different to me. And I feel like it's just more creative. Look at her. I want to go off because I want to leave a little room to do a couple of other things on this. I'm going to change this a little bit before I glue this down. I'm thinking ahead. I don't want to just glue her down. I actually want to take a little piece of cheesecloth to put behind her. Okay, these are your pieces of art, remember? So I'm getting sidetracked because I'm working on just one piece of art, not the whole masterboard. And guess what I'm going to do with this? I'm going to take a little distressed tattered rose. And color that cheesecloth. Oh, that's a great idea. I love the recycling stuff like that, Sandy, like the Kleenex boxes and mail. And I have a video I'm going to do here in a week with the padded mailers that I found somebody did a little something out of. Oh my gosh, I love this. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Just drying it up. Here's the other thing, get this cheesecloth stuff. Look at just the plethora of options if you're going to start coloring it and doing stuff with it, right? Okay, so now I just want to tatter it up a little bit. Give it a little haircut to reduce the size of it a little bit. So I want this to come from behind my lady. And we'll glue her down. Like so. Texture. Giving these layers, working these up in layers. Is the key with scraps and the key with doing stuff like this. So again, thinking of that kind of project you're going to do, how you're going to approach that project. Love her, love her. I think I've got enough of that with these Brutus Monroe things. I don't know if I want to use that, to be honest. I'm going to go to my ephemera packs and see what I can collage with this before I add some other elements around these things here. I'm getting my main element down, and I want something like this. Oh, look. How fun. Got a little blue in there. See if I can find... Oh, that blue. I'm looking for just some body images. Ooh, that one's not bad either. I think I like these people, though. I like those people. Those people. I like those peeps. That goes with that. Really nice. I need something to go with that. So I'm going to switch up packs because I feel like color scheme is going to go better with this other pack. And then before I glue these down, I'm going to add some stuff to these. So this is going to be kind of a in-betweenish layer. Ooh, I love the see-through stuff. That'll look cool. That's a little dark. It looks dark on camera. You can kind of see it, but it is a little dark. I thought that'd be cool, like looking through a Polaroid or something. That's okay. Here's where I start. My brain is like collaging. To me, sometimes is a lot of decision making. And this is the challenge when it. This is like free form for the base, but then you've got to get a little thought process behind that collage. Ooh, that one's perfect. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that because we're going to go now to the other layer I need to add before we go putting things in place. Oop, not that package. Ooh, that bird. See, that bird was left out on purpose. And so was that. Okay, I'm done with these. Now what I want to do, I'm going to set these aside. Of what they go with. And I want to do some stamping. In prepping, I got out any vintagey looking stamp I could find. I have everything from Brutus Monroe to Gina K to Simon Hurley to include a thank you. I got all kinds of stuff in here. And so I am going to grab a couple things, and I'm actually just going to try to grab from a couple different designers. And mix this up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to try that. And I saw in there an opportunity in those stamps. Okay, so then I'll just grab my archival. I'm going to start with this one, which is going to have this and probably this bird. So I'm going to actually grab my Simon Hurley scripted background. I'm not even going to take it off the plastic. I don't need to. I'm just going to do a chunk of it. Okay, and all we're doing here is just throwing a little script down. I'm going to start with this one, okay? Then I need a little bit of some organicness, of some weeds, floral something. So I'm going to grab this Brutus Monroe one. This is botanical background. And we're just going to grab this little corner right here. Like so. Throw those in there. And that might be just enough. I'm using archival, so it's going to stay wet just long enough. And I'm not covering it all. I'm just doing some random on that. So I'm leaving some black. I'm doing some gold. Now, get out an embossing powder you don't use very often, that you've had forever and you need to use up. That'll go. Okay. We're on a roll with this one. I'm going to stay with this one right now. And then it's the same process for these other two that we're going to try to finish here for you today. Look at that. I didn't even need to use embossing because of that archival. All right. Next thing I want to add is I want to add a little raised texture on here. So I did get out some stencils. And I got everything from kitschy fish bones to honeycomb to florals and different things. So I'm going to stick with something that I feel like Tim Holtzy stuff here is always perfect for this stuff, right? That one actually might be perfect, a little gauzy kind of feel. And then this. All right. I got out a bunch of pastes and texture paste and different things. However, and I got out my distress sprays to, do the staining and stuff. I felt like, though, this morning as I was just double checking my stuff, and these Nuvo drops and things would be perfect for this. Okay? And I've also had these glitter glue things that I thought would be good for this kind of thing. So I'm actually going to just take this simple leaf pattern. This is just some leaf stencils, and this is by Pink Fresh Studio. And they're layering ones. I'm just going to take one that I feel will be just what I need for the corner, which is going to go right about like so, that one. Okay. Take this. I sure can. Hope that helps. All right. I'm going to take this, and I'm actually going to use this Nuvo green. I'm just going to throw some down here. Layers, people. Layers, layers, layers. And I had a little bit left, so I'm going to just throw it right down in here. Okay. Just throwing that in some water. Then this one, I'm going to take just this nice beigey, and look at, I haven't used it in a while, and it's gunked up, because this is how much I don't use this stuff, which isn't right. That's just not right. Bought the stuff, paid for this stuff, and then I'm not using it. And now, guess what? I found another use for some of this stuff. When you do stencils like this, this could be tough because you're putting layer over layer. So I'm actually just going to go like so. And smear that through. It got a little smeary, but that's okay. I want that texture in there. All right. While this dries, we're going to go on to the next two and give this a little bit of time to dry. And then I'll finish drying it with my gun. So let me just set this one aside. Is that not turning out like a fantastic piece of art? All right, same process now with this one. I'm going to keep these pieces together here. That one goes there. Okay? Same process. I've got this. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of this stamp and get some organic branchy stuff in the background. I probably should have stamped this before I glued these big pieces down. Okay. I'm going to go back to that Tim Holtzy one. Had a nice one I could use with this one. And I'm just using that same Larry concept. There was. Where did he go? I thought I grabbed... let's see. Here they are. Tim's got great mixed media stuff, so that I feel just fits in with this thing. Nice little one here. Just so I can, oops, grab this. There's a little block. I'm gonna go right over this, actually. Yeah, bring that in and around. And I'm gonna grab one more and do the same thing up over there. And let's just use some scripty something. There we go. All right, now I'm going to use some texture. And this one, I want to keep in this color theme. So something pinky, minty greenish, something. Oh, give me a second. I got something needs to be updated and installed pop up. There we go. Oh, that would be beautiful on that. This actually would look great. However, Madam needs a little sparkle, I think, too. I think I'm going to actually mix those, to be honest. I'm going to mix those and then just get myself a stencil. Oh, look at that. Would that not look great? Because it's going to get a little translucent. Get out your supplies, peeps. Get them out. I'm going to go a little bit right there, and then I'm going to go over on her. All right, I'm going to mix these. I don't know if it'll work or not. Little Nouveau drops mixed in with some cheap glitter glue. And let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a little pat mix. Oh, that actually kind of worked. Yeah, I'm digging that. Okay. Thank you, Sandy. All right. I'm going to go over this corner. Lift so I can keep a pattern there. And then we're just going to go right over her. But I don't want to use the stencil. I want something a little bit more defined. Just go with this. I want something just a little bit more defined with some shape. perfect. Embossing powder smeared over this would look great too. Okay, I'm going to keep that there. We'll let her dry. And let's come back to this one. This one's struggling me a little bit. So let's get out this stash of stuff. And I feel like that, with a little bit of that and a little bit of this might work. I also feel like I need some washi and I need some of this. Not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. And while we're at it, we all have a little good bubble wrap, right? I don't think I'm going to go the gear route and stuff today. I got one other thing I want to grab because I didn't think I was going to use them, but we are. Okay, let's just do... I need some color because I'm going to bring in a third color in here. So I'm going to grab my peacock feathers. And I'm just schmucking it up. All right. And then I want the texture. So I'm just using a little piece of cardboard for the texture. And let's just bring in, you know, you just can't go wrong if you pull out Rusty Hinge, right? Give me some texture in there. Okay. Now, I'm going to dry this a little bit. I like the look of embossing powders. And I pulled out these distress ones that I have hardly ever used. It's probably going to grab on my ink I just put down, but that's okay. Let's just give this a try. All right, all I want to do here is I'm just going to rough that up. And I know these are like glazes. They dry, they bond slightly different than your normal embossing powder usually. Okay, now I just want to take a little bit of this off. Now, if you're making these and you are giving these away to somebody in the community like we had talked about, maybe you're going to collage one, you know, if you know who you're going to give it to, collage it to them. Give it some of their personality. Maybe you know what kind of cards they make and what kind of stuff they like. You could totally gear this towards them. That's cool. That's just plain cool. Okay. Guess what? I need a little bit more color. So I'm just using a little shabby shutters with a little picked raspberry. Give that a little dry. Hopefully this is giving you guys some ideas. Hopefully this is just, again, like the first class, encouraging you to get out that stash. Get out something free form. I don't want you to think about this. I want you to enjoy the process. And that's was my purpose with this was, again, watching how much you guys enjoyed the process with that first video in class. I had to do another take on it because I just felt like everybody just, I think people got more out of it than they realized just reading the comments, and that the expectation was not what they expected. To be honest, that just made me smile so much, because to me, that, like, if people are like, oh my god, it's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and blah blah blah, that's great too. But to go in and go, oh my gosh, that is like not what I expected, then I did what I set out to do for that class, which was give you something unexpected, out of the ordinary, to make you kind of not think about it, to be honest, and just do something fun with no intention. Oh, I already have an idea too here. Okay, guess what? We're gonna take this heart and if you have watched any of my videos, you know I like my dimension and I like my texture, so I see an opportunity for some dimension. And I see one more opportunity. Stand by. Rose Gold Embossing Powder by Brutus Monroe is the bomb. It is the absolute bomb. I'm going to go back to that script background by Simon Hurley. And I'm going to grab my embossing ink. And emboss this. This could be crazy. I may end up, I gotta like literally like change and head to the to work after this and fly for 2 days, and I'm probably gonna just have to leave everything and come back to, oh please 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 no, it's good, to this total mess when I get back to, and I'm only gone for like 30 hours, so I'll come back tomorrow night and clean. All right. I just, because the script was on this heart, and I'm like, I can replicate that script and then put it in embossing. And any chance I can get to use this red rose gold, I'm going to do it. Cannot wait. Cannot, oh, hang on. I have these scraps that are perfect for this. You guys look. I did not pre-plan these out at all. And the process of just going, oh wait, I have some more. Oh wait, is just, oh, that's even gold. Is just tickling me to death. It solidifies for me, and not that I need the solidification, but it's worth saving my scraps. I don't care what people think. Of every little thing I save, I love the process of going, I have one little piece somewhere that's going to be perfect for this. Where'd I put it? You know? Oop, I wanted that over here. All right, so this is going to go like that. This one's going to go like that. And that's going to go right there. Okay, then I had we're going to add a little something peeking underneath that. And I liked this one. And so I'm actually going to take and cut down the rows off of this. Sometimes my heart's like, it's such a shame because this has a great little frame and everything. But you know what? This little piece was just meant for Shawn to cut out. My heart breaks a little bit that I'm having to waste this, but I'm going to throw this little piece away. It's not worth keeping. It did its purpose for me. Now, I can hide this to glue this down under here. And right here. And then that way, it's like vellum. You can't see it. I'm digging this. And I think I need one more little something for this one, and then I think I'm going to leave it. And what is that going to be? A little something like that. I got all kinds of stuff in here. We're going to make this just like a little thing by your head. Pop that up just a little bit. Just like so. I'm going to add sentiment to this. I did not prep anything for sentiments, so I'm not going to waste our time today with sentiments. I need to add a sentiment right there. I'm going to use my old typewriter, type something out, and set it right there, is what I'm going to do. So I think this one needs one last thing, and it is these, because I tried to bring out some of that turquoise. And I have these little floral turquoisey things. So we're going to go through one here. I'm going to throw one here. And there. I think we're just going to go 3. These come in silver and turquoise, and I want the turquoise. This accomplished what I was going for today. This is exactly what I was going for. Practice. Do I think I could have done better? Maybe. But I'm using up stuff. I practice my collaging, practice this thought process of going with things and doing things. I'm going to add one sentiment there, not today. And I think I'm going to leave this. As it's overlaying, it's a big ATC. Then the last thing that I would need to do, I think I set them over here. Once this dries, I'll do my backs. And put that on the back. and sign. And I got a beautiful ATC. All right, I'm going to go finish these last two for you guys. Hopefully this is inspiring you to get out some stuff. Let's see if I can dry this one a little bit better. Grab this one at the same time. Keep it as simple as you want to. Do you need to collage all this? This, to me, right here, I could put a sentiment on this or not put a sentiment on this and call it a day. I love the color combo on that. Oh, I forgot. I think I might want to add... Nope, I don't think so. I'll show you what I was thinking, what I grabbed out. As I'm drying this up, let's just see what else I can add. I see a couple things I want to add in here. I am going to keep that one, I think, simple, to be very honest with you. I had that for her, and I had this one. It was over here. Loving these. I am just absolutely loving these. All right. I'm going to trim her down so I can kind of see what I'm working with. This one I do want to trim. Okay. I had originally pulled out these. So let's just do a little chunk of that. Guess I didn't need to cut that because I'm going to cut it off, I think. A little chunk of that. I liked this popping out of her hat. I'm going to give it just a little glue on that. And hide that glue with a little piece of washi. And let's just make that one a little decorative. She is going to go to London. And then I just need a couple more pieces I saw in my stash over here to see if I could fit these in. Felt like that. Ooh, no, maybe this one. This one. And there was some leaves and vellum in here that I want to use. Here they are. I cannot believe some of these scraps I can use. That one. And this one. With, yes, a dimensional. And I thought I had, stand by. Where did it go? There was a gold leaf somewhere. Maybe not. Guess not. I got some stuff going. This might be the last little piece to tie this in. Center doesn't seem right, so then I'm going to do it. And I like that. Sentiment or no sentiment, don't know yet. Might throw one there, I don't know. That is the second one. And now, for this last one, do we go simple? What do we do? I like this, actually. And I do like the bird. And we're going to use up this little piece. Let me just clean that up a little bit. It'd be fun just to take these two and just start spraying them with some stuff. It's almost like they're getting ready to walk through a doorway or through looking out a window or something. Digging that. We're going to cut off his feet. Didn't use that string, but I want to use this. And I'm just going to shred it up a little bit. I like the no rules. Just really like the no rules. Your rules are the rules with this. Thinking this could be like my little bird's nest. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. We're going to bling this out. And I feel like I need this piece. This and this. Oh, I'm loving this. Honestly, I could make these all day. I really could. these are going to go right back in there. Okay, what should we do for bling and call it? I see those. Look perfect. Look at that color theme. Look at that color scheme. Look at the combos of stuff in there. Obviously, we need one of the biggies in there. Like so. Like little eggs. Sentiment right across that bottom when I decide which one I'm going to use. These are going to get old typewriter kind of stuff. Alright, trim that down. And I'm good with time. We've got 12 of these total. We're not going to make all 12 obviously today, but we're going to show you what's left. Oh, you know what? That color scheme seems perfect for that. Doesn't it? I've had these little things for a while too. I don't even remember what project I originally bought them for. You guys, I'm not kidding. Perfect way to start a Saturday morning for me. Sorry about all this mess. To clear these out and show you. Again, I'm going to take my ATC and put in the backs of all of these. Here's 3 out of my 12. Remember, these are the bases that I have left to create with. And I got a ton of product behind me that I can, pardon me, collage and make these. Hopefully you guys got some ideas. All right? 3 right here. Get out your ephemera. Let me go up to the face cam here for you. Hi. All right. Get out your ephemera. Get out the collage stuff. Get out your consumables you haven't used. Nuvo drops through stencils. Come on. Beautiful shimmer on them. Mix them even with some cheapo glue, glitter glue. Get out your stuff. Start out with your master board. A little bit more symmetrical for you, but you're going to layer. So if you tear it, go for it. You layer this so much, you don't see it all anyway, right? But you don't have to layer it even. I could have left that last one nice and plain and simple, put a nice little sweet sentiment on it, and I think that would have been perfect. And I'm actually probably going to do that, like with, especially like, I think one like that would be great. This one would be great with just a little stenciling stuff over it and simple, and then a sentiment would be fantastic. Thank you all so much. I have one more live for you. We're going to take scraps and consumables on the next one to the next level. We're going to not do a master board. We're going to do something different, but we're going to take our stash of consumables and our stash of stuff and stencils and take it to the next level. Okay? I look forward to seeing you on March 28th. I promise we should not have to reschedule that one, and I will see you all then. And until next time, I'll see you then.